Chud.
So Jordan Peele made a movie out of Chud, and you're mad about it.
I mean, he made a Chud.
Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
And now that I'm 30, my Flintstones vitamins work more like Viagra than they used to.
Tell us more about
I think
that.
you need to see
Hold
a
on a
doctor
second.
about that.
Look at this thing, guys.
Tell us more about that, Casey.
What does the thesaurus have to do with your penis?
Tell us more about that, Casey. Tell us about your Flintstones vitamins.
I get chewy vitamins because the regular ones are gross tasting.
I can tell that about you, you savage. Anyway, Hunter, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. How are we doing? How is us?
Well, we just got done celebrating Casey's 30th birthday. Happy birthday, Casey.
Which was a blast. Lots of fun.
The big 3-0.
Oh, the big 3-0. I woke up this morning and I got out of bed and I went, oh, and I went, oh God, it's already happening.
Lean into it.
No, I think what I did is I slept on my side all night and didn't move. And so my whole right side was just sore from laying in one position for
Dude,
about
I get
9
that
hours.
too. I get that too. Like you sleep wrong and it just fucks you up for the rest of the day. Like you're hunched over, your ribs hurt, or God.
Yeah.
the
Hunter's
worst.
like, I have no idea what that's like because I'm still 25.
26.
Oh,
And
now
a
I can
half.
say that. But now I will say, now that I'm 30, I've got to quit with the old man jokes. Hunter can still do them to both of us, but I can't do them anymore.
I kind of considered
I think once you hit 30,
25
you're not
is
allowed to
old.
make old man jokes.
25.
You know, some people would say that ageism is just as bad as racism at any age. You old fuck.
And some people are stupid.
I think you should cut that out.
Or just bleep it and then keep the part where Casey said to cut it out.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Beacon House Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Casey.
I'm another one of your hosts, not Casey, but Hunter.
I'm Spence. Jesus, I don't know what's going on with these guys. I'm over here in the corner.
And guys, I know Spencer really wants to talk about this, and I really want to talk about this,
What?
but Hunter's not seen this, so he doesn't want to talk about it. I want to talk about The Dirt.
I do. I'm anxious to hear you guys talk about it.
It is the most insane first 5 minutes of a movie I've ever seen in my life.
I would agree with that. Well, depending on what you... I mean, I think it's very exciting. I think it's very, very... Now it's not a lot... It's getting mixed reviews. I think it's only at 46% on Rotten Tomatoes. Just like everything Motley Crue ever did, critics fucking hate it. All the snooty movie websites are shitting on it and blah, 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 which is fine with me because the legion of Motley Crue fans that exist don't give a fuck about music critics or movie critics. You know what I mean? So to me, that's perfect. And they had the soundtrack was the number one album on iTunes this week when it came out. So it's getting massive.
interesting.
It's having tremendous success regardless of what critics say, which is kind of how it was in the late 80s and 90s. Bands just did what they wanted to massive success. Like it was they even talk about this in the movie. They say these people they want anarchy so bad, we've got to give it to them. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where it came from. And the critics were like, oh, this is racy and this is blah. But nobody give a fuck. You know, people were like, people wanted something exciting and they wanted something to make their heart beat a little bit in their chest.
Dude, people
that's what it's
still
about.
want that. I think they either don't know they do for some reason,
Sure.
or because of hive mind, they're afraid to admit that they want that.
Well, and everybody's level of excitement and risk again, there's a lot of things portrayed in the movie that are not positive. And the band these days will tell you that this is a story about overcoming who they once were.
What is it called again?
The Dirt.
I wonder why. Go. Yeah.
And it's based on a book called The Dirt.
Well, right, but
So at any point, they're not saying that this is model behavior. They're just saying this is a real honest, unedited take on how it really was. And it really was like this back in the day. I mean, you saw it on TV, but you also saw it around, I remember the teenagers in my neighborhood acted like this. They were fucking crazy. They were wild. They all had long hair, leather jackets, and it was as real as it gets. You know, everybody's level of how excited you're going to be that day wasn't decided through the screen of a tiny little phone. Life was electric. And this movie captures that very, very much. It captures a lot of bad things too, but I think it's exciting as fuck.
I'm watching this tonight or tomorrow.
So far, it literally came out 2 days ago, and I've seen it 3 times.
The cast is awesome. You have the guy who played in 11/22/63.
That's the guy that plays Vince Neil, the singer. He played Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oh, he's a good actor. I can never remember.
I
his
think
name,
he's
but
the
good.
weakest link.
Really?
Honestly, yeah. And he's the least exciting to me in the
I
movie.
love him as an actor, but in this movie, he was very
That's weird.
Yeah.
Machine Gun Kelly as Tommy Lee.
Fucking knocks it out of the... I mean, like, dude, I'm the biggest fan of that guy now. It's crazy.
And then Ramsey
He killed
Bolton
it
as
so...
Mick
He
Mars.
fucking killed it so much as Tommy Lee that you couldn't even tell the original guy was in there. He had all these mannerisms. It just acted exactly like a rock star from the 80s. He acted exactly like that. I mean, the guy was such a chameleon. I didn't see any lame white rapper in him at all. He was 100% fucking like
Rock star.
rock star. And great. And real likable too, I thought. He was my favorite character in the movie.
I like Mick Mars.
Fucking amazing.
See, Ramsey Bolton, I've heard in the Game of Thrones, I haven't gotten that season yet, is terrible.
One of the
He's
most
terrible.
hated people in the entire
Yeah.
Game of Thrones mythology.
But when they went up to Mick Mars in that first opening, they're like, Mick Mars, he's a fucking alien. And he like was sleeping with his arms
Oh,
crossed.
God.
I loved it. I was like, this is great.
Well, and here's the thing, and again, people are if you read whoever, God, I don't know who's putting out these terrible reviews of it, but they say that it's like boring. I read one that said it's boring. Do you believe that?
I don't believe it for a
This
second.
is the least boring movie I've ever fucking seen, maybe. And anyway, somebody said it was boring and blah, 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 but I like it because it tells a story of the musicians.
Yeah.
Like the first scene is when they meet Mick Mars is like he's in this shitty little, looks like an AMC Pacer, and they're trying to drag his like guitar cabinet out of the fucking back of the... In these days when nobody's playing big guitar cabinets anymore, they're playing tiny little amps. You know, even on like arena shows, they've got a tiny little amp, and instead there's just a bunch of digital shit behind. Well, I have a fucking 412 sitting right over there, and they haul one out, and like Machine Gun Kelly has to come down and help him carry it out of the car, and it's funny.
Spencer pointed to the corner of the room.
It's funny and lighthearted, and it's just to see them like, and that's really what it's like when you try to start a band. You're just in a room, and it's weird, and you have to like work it out, and like,
It's really weird.
yeah, dude. And again, I want to encourage everybody. Like, if you do go watch The Dirt, first off, I don't give a fuck what you think about it. Everybody's going to have these mixed opinions and blah blah blah. I think it fucking ruled, and it was a breath of fresh air. However, and I'm a big fan of that era, and I'm a big fan of. I don't think Motley Crue was the best band of the '80s, but they did a thing, and they kind of set a precedence for a lot of stuff. And this is the story of that. And I will just say that like it's very focused on the musicians and what musicians go through and the struggle of being the musician. It's not just about wild guys doing crazy things, and you know what I'm saying?
It's not Jackass, the Motley Crue edition.
No, but it is the director of Jackass. The guy
Really?
that directed Jackass is the guy that directed this, and apparently he's been waiting for years and years to make this movie. Apparently
Right
a lot
on.
of people have. So anyway, I could not wait to see it when it first came out. It's one of my favorite things I've seen in a minute. I think it's the most excited. Oh well, it's the most excited I've been by a movie since Infinity War.
So
Okay.
a year.
Yeah,
Which, Endgame, April 26th.
yeah,
Let's do it.
Yeah.
yeah. And even though it's not the movie Infinity War is, it's about things that are much closer to my heart than Infinity War. So it's got a place in my heart no matter what. And yeah, it's cheesy sometimes. And yeah, the part about The Dirt, I think, that was the least believable actually were some of the performances. Because you could just tell they weren't actual guys in a band when they were acting like they were playing. It was pretty close to the videos and stuff you see, but you can just kind of tell. But they did a good job. I don't think anybody could have done any better. And the guy from Game of Thrones that was the guitar player, he really is a guitar player in real
Why
life.
is this guy hated? You guys mentioned that and then just kind of left it.
Have you not?
His
are you,
character? I'm way behind.
His
I'm in
character in
season
Game of
2.
Thrones.
he's,
Not him, but his character.
his character is
Okay.
maybe the most deplorable guy in the entire show. You got to see what happens. It's bad, but yeah,
That's what I was told, is that he's the worst. Everyone hates him. And I'm like, why? And they're like, just watch it.
just watch.
There's someone worse than Joffrey?
Apparently, it
a
dwarfs
lot.
Joffrey.
A lot worse.
Okay.
But
Not
anyway,
to distract. Sorry. But-
check out the
Wow.
and again, everybody's heard me going on about music and rock and roll and how it's real and we need to get back to being edgy. The movie is not PC at all. I can't even believe they got this through on Netflix,
Is it PC-13?
dude. Just it's very very you'll shit. You'll be like, I can't believe this.
I don't even know if you'll make it through the first 5
In
minutes.
fact, you
Really?
might, depending on who you watch it with, you might even get in trouble for watching it.
Actually, yeah, don't watch it with Libby.
That was my original idea. Should I not?
It's
Probably not.
dude. It's dirty. It's dirty, and it's exactly how things were back then, and it's fucking electric. So anyway,
It's electric.
what did you think of it?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm not a really big fan on musical biopics,
When they have drums.
especially with drums. No,
This one's really big on the drummer too.
No, I thought this was great. But the last biopic I watched and really liked was Walk the Line about Johnny Cash, where
I still haven't seen that.
I thought Joaquin
seen it.
Phoenix actually like learned how to sing like Johnny and like sang the songs. It was he was really good. And then Reese Witherspoon as June. I don't know. I really enjoyed that movie.
It was good.
That's a
It's really
task and
good.
a half too. I've had plenty of music. Not docking him at all, because what Johnny Cash did was very particular and super good. But
Sure.
I've had music teachers through school and stuff, and people that know their shit talk about how he didn't actually sing, and everybody knows that. But if you can sing at all and then you try to imitate it, it's not easy. So if he was able to do that, again, I haven't seen the
I
movie.
don't know who
but-
would say Johnny Cash didn't sing. I just think he had a different style of singing.
Well, I think that's kind of like what
Johnny
they're
Cash
trying to
was
say,
not
though.
unanimously loved. A lot of people hated Johnny Cash. They thought he was this like a hack, and they thought he was like Johnny Cash had a weird legacy. His resurgence of popularity came in the alt country movement that happened starting with Dwight Yoakam in the '90s, and when some of in fact Lollapalooza. Do you remember this? Mm-hmm. Lollapalooza started picking up country acts and taking them out with like these like grunge bands and stuff. So all of a sudden, Johnny Cash was cool again. Dwight Yoakam was cool again, and this weird like dark alt country stuff kind of became popular with like rock music fans and stuff. But it totally didn't follow country music right down the mainstream path. In fact, mainstream country kind of abandoned Johnny Cash and stuff like that.
Stadium country is what they call it now.
Yeah, pop
Yeah.
country, however you want to call it.
The
But-
grossest thing to ever touch my ears.
well, it depends on who you talk to. I have some friends that are fans of like newer country acts, like Old Dominion and Luke Bryan, and look, I get it's real easy to like shit on that stuff, just like Nickelback. It's easy to go, blah blah. But again, if
People
you,
still put hard work into it.
well,
That's not what he was going to say.
no,
Apparently they don't.
anything that makes it to the radio has hard work in it. But I think what I want to say is, it's just I think it's a big mistake to just write off an entire genre of music without sitting through a couple hours of it.
Oh, you never should.
Oh, trust me.
Brad
I
Paisley is
sat
great.
through 5 years of this stuff and never liked it once.
Well, like sometimes I'll go, like my friend Christy, shout out in Chattanooga, she'll come up to town or whatever, and like I'll hang out with her and maybe like Alea, and they're both into like modern country and stuff like that. So if I'm riding in the car with them, like they've got it on or whatever, but they'll play songs that sound great. And they have a good chorus, and there's all, and I go, oh, hey, who is this? And I never know who it is anymore. I go, who is that? I like that. And then some of them are a little cheesy, whatever. But like either way, there's
I
some,
mean, I like modern country, but I like particular ones like Chris Stapleton and Zach Brown Band.
and I love those too. And
those are like earthy country.
yeah.
Kinda,
Well, that's ballsier country. I get it. But there is some pop country that's not just Florida Georgia Line, who I can't stand. You know, like sorry to say it, like
They don't make you want to cruise.
it's not my cup of tea, dude. Not,
You don't want to see a guy standing in the back of a pickup truck with fucking torch,
Yeah,
like
not my-
pyrotechnics as he's dancing in the back of his pickup.
definitely not my jam.
I thought that was a Miley Cyrus video.
Look at my Ford. No, it's Luke Bryan.
Oh God.
Like I said, 5 years. I was with someone who made me listen and watch all of it, and I despised it every
Yeah.
single time.
Well, I mean, and to each his own. But there's something to be had in a lot of music genres, and generally, whether you like the band or not, there probably was somebody involved in the process that's a talented songwriter or a talented producer, or at least,
absolutely.
If nothing else, if you get nothing else out of Luke Bryan or Nickelback or whatever like that, some smart engineer placed the mics on the cabs, and you know what I mean. Like somebody played the drums. It might have been a studio guy, but somewhere there's something in there you could like go, oh, you know, somebody did a good job. I'm just not a fan of the song.
Which brings me to my next topic. Is last night we went to go see Us,
We did.
and after the movie, first of all, after the movie, Hunter looked directly to you and went, "Are you ready to team up on Casey tomorrow?"
Dude, the
as
whole
just
row-
assuming that I was gonna like.
The whole row was looking at
Well,
you.
now
though.
look,
Like,
now-
Because
they
everybody's
were-
mad I took him to another crappy
no,
movie
no,
again.
no. It wasn't a crappy movie.
Well, for starters, it was your birthday.
It was.
You can do whatever the fuck you want to.
Right.
It doesn't matter what any of us think about the movie or whatever like that. I think we had we actually met up before the movie. We went to the brand new Caber. By the way, we're going to get to that in future. It's coming down the pike, but the new Caber in West Knoxville is friggin' rad.
It's cool.
The best.
It's amazing. Get in there, give them all your fucking money. They're great guys. It's a great space. It's wonderful. Anyway, we stopped in there. We went over and had some Big Kahuna wings. Went over to played some Mario Kart, and then we saw the movie. It was a great night.
How was the Mario Kart?
The Mario Kart was rad. I
love
I
Mario
enjoyed
Kart.
it better than the movie. But anyway, please take the floor.
Look, I want to say this one thing right off the bat. I did not 100% care for this movie. However, Jordan Peele is still a phenomenal director.
Would not argue that.
No argue.
Everything about that movie was beautiful, except I feel like the story itself.
What is
no, like the camera shots, the symbolism, there's all so much stuff that goes in the movie. Just like
it looked like it had $100 bills taped to it, but the story was a turd. Like
there was definite holes, and it was also advertised wrong. I don't know. It was advertised as like the number one horror movie of all time, and it's like Pet Sematary is right on the corner.
I will 1,000,000% agree with you on that. It was absolutely advertised.
Wrong.
Portrayed wrong in the media. Way portrayed like it was portrayed like it was going to be something really dark.
It looked like it was going to be his version, for lack of a better comparison, of what The Strangers is.
Yeah.
It just looked like a really creepy home invasion movie, and that's 15 minutes of the film.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason that I didn't like the whole experience is I felt like I had been preemptively lied to.
Yeah.
I feel like they were just trying to put butts in seats. Like, they don't really care if anybody liked this movie or not. I think they just wanted to, like, it felt like we were part of a numbers game.
$75 million opening weekend, so it worked. But that's what they were wanted.
And they
very
put all
good
these
sophomore slump.
They put all these obscure ads and stuff up about it, like it's the greatest horror movie of all time. Which, why would you even say that? Mm-hmm. But they advertise it, and they used Instagram, social media. Like, they got it in front of the right people. They got us in there. So it totally worked. I don't think there's going to be any repeat business.
I don't even think the story.
I can't imagine somebody going back to see that.
Well, I'd want to. I want to. I think it was fun as hell.
You guys let me know how that goes.
Well, no, I don't think I want to see it in theaters. I just think I want to wait when it comes out on DVD or Netflix. I want to watch it again and maybe one more time because I feel like there's so much I missed because the guy in the front seat kept running his goddamn mouth.
Oh, really? Because I didn't have that problem for once. It was so good.
Did you not hear him?
Was he in front of us?
Yeah.
Was it the guy that was like, bitch?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Like,
I turned around. The acoustics, I thought he was behind.
No.
Every time the lead character would like kill someone or something, he's like, yeah, take that, bitch. And I was like, shut your fucking mouth.
Please tell me, Casey, you were the person that said he heard you the first time because he said bitch twice in a row.
Dude.
Was that you?
I'm here to
maybe.
I'm here to tell you, I heard that guy too, and there were people behind us that were like talking to and stuff like it. If you would have erased all that, it still wouldn't have made the movie good.
No, probably not. But when I go watch a movie, I like to peel back layers as I watch it, and I feel like there's a lot of layers to this movie, especially, and this is one of the downfalls to it, is I feel like it was overly political underbelly. Like there's a bottom layer of political. I don't know.
If you're referencing the idea of like.
Spoilers.
Forgive me.
Do we spoilers now?
Oh yeah, big time spoilers.
Hey,
spoiler alert.
Heads up. Hey, like if you haven't seen us yet, you're better off. Don't go see it anyway. But if you are going to go see it, stop this podcast right now.
1, spoilers.
Spoilers.
If you're referencing the idea of combining the disenfranchised in general with the id and how that can go wrong, because those are like two metaphors mushed into one in the Hands Across America or whatever, that stuff. I was actually on board with that, like
also
as far as
red
the politics of it.
And she says, I'm an American.
Right, yes. All that stuff.
And that it's our time now.
But the way that that's what I was originally thinking, is that I actually like the story in general, but it's just down to the last 5 or 10 minutes, and not even the exposition of what happened between those characters and all that, but just how none of that actually mattered with the political message, and how the political message and the symbolism don't go hand in hand either. That was Libby and I kept talking about it. I think all that stuff, the symbolism, the artistry, the message, and the story, all individually were probably very strong ideas, but he just threw them into one big mess and like stirred it once and said, and here we go.
Yeah, and it wasn't a good vehicle for any of that.
And that was the problem. It just fell apart at the end because it didn't belong together.
I'll tell you another thing too,
the whole is not as good as the parts.
Somebody was saying, one thing about this movie that will stand up is the acting. The acting was really good. And I'm like, well, the acting was mediocre. Lupita Nyong'o is phenomenal, always. She's a super talented person.
I liked Winston Duke.
Her character, like her alternate character with the raspy voice, and again, this is just my opinion, in my humble opinion, whatever, possibly the worst written, most poorly executed, papery, stupid. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching this. What the fuck is my money going to pay for?
Is it because of the voice?
The dumbest character I've ever seen. Not scary, totally stupid. And that part at the end where they fight by dancing, I could not. I feel like Jordan Peele was sitting next to me going, fucking got
Dude,
you, dude.
that's
He's got
kudos
his dick
to
in
the,
my Pepsi, and he's just like, hey, man, have another sip. You came to this.
That's a big
Regal does
shout
Coke.
You
out.
came to this fucking movie,
Right.
you idiot. Look at that. You want they're dance fighting. It's like a ballet
But
theme.
that's where the composer deserves a lot of credit, because I agree with you, and I was dissecting that on both levels.
I was like, I can't
as
believe-
a piece of film with the music,
Can't
it was
believe this.
fucking brilliant. But the actual execution of what you were seeing just visually and what that meant in the story, I thought was stupid as hell.
Stupid.
So,
But
the music made it awesome in the moment. I was like, this is great, but also it's just going back and forth the
fucking
whole time.
us made The Dirt look like Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, fucking
Bohemian Rhapsody, I hear, is actually not good.
I heard
What?
Bohemian
I heard
Rhapsody
it's
is dirt.
phenomenal.
I've heard not good. I haven't seen it, but
I haven't seen it either. But anyway, make up your own minds. I hope if anybody goes to see Us, for God's sake, for your sake, I hope you like it.
On the level of a thriller, I hope you
get-
have fun.
I
Yeah.
hope
It's
you
a
get your
thriller.
money's worth.
I will say, and I said this after the movie, and I still believe it, because the way the movie was shot, with like at the very end when she's going down the escalator and all the bunnies are everywhere and it's like
yeah.
real open, but like still feels claustrophobic. The shots of people on the underground world doing everything the above ground world are doing, but backwards.
Yeah.
Like they're in the room and they're all going this way, and the merry-go-round's going this way. People are playing rock paper scissors like this, backwards, holding out what they're gonna do, and then going back to like the fist.
I do.
All
sorry.
that seemed incredibly Kubrick,
Yeah.
and so much so that I don't know. I just feel like that in itself is worth a go and watch it, because I think Jordan Peele may, depending, I want to see what his third movie's like, but I can see Peele being the next Kubrick-esque director. The
There are
one that
worse
puts out
things you
those
could
weird,
be. Yeah.
kind of very visual, very symbolic. The story might not be there, but it's just it's a spectacle to go see with your eyes and
Yeah.
enjoy this movie.
And again, the final caveat on any positive things I say about the movie being that in the last 5 minutes, the whole thing just revealed itself to be a giant mess and fell apart. But
Yeah.
I did really love the unraveling of the story, and even though most of the things were telegraphed from a million miles away, which is okay, when they go to the friend's house in Act 2, immediately start going, are there more than just is this not their doppelgangers, which is what it was advertised as well? Is there more? And then that family is killed by its alternate self, and how that then folded into revealing this very George Romero-esque zombie movie, except they weren't zombies, but they functioned in the same way.
Right.
And their virus this time was death, as opposed to turning you into one of them. It was an overtaking. All of that stuff I loved. It was very kind of classic Crazies from the 70s, I thought.
I listened to, on the way here, the Dead Lovely podcast.
They saw
our
it?
buddy Ben Eller and
Ben and Steve.
Uncle Ben and Hollywood Steve, and they did a little mini-sode about it. And I didn't even realize this, because I guess I wasn't paying attention. But
They're smarter than us.
oh yeah,
Is that what
definitely,
it is?
especially when it comes to horror movies. But they made a good point where somebody was talking about, why didn't those people from the underground escape earlier? And they brought up a good point that their escape was to go through a house of mirrors. But when they were down in the underground, did you guys see a mirror at all? There was no mirrors in the underground. These people don't know what they look like. They only know what the other person looks like.
Yeah, that part.
And their escape route is to go through a fucking hallway of mirrors. So I wonder if they made a kind of a theory of these people probably tried to escape and then saw their own reflection that scared them back into the hole. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Maybe, yeah. It's hard for me to care about any of that, because I thought it just sucked so bad. And I'm not trying to just gaslight it, but everything, the villains, when they started talking and they were just grunting, and here's the horrible thing: when a movie tries to be serious and it's funny, that you feel so embarrassed for the experience. You know what I mean? Like with the big guy that was the doppelganger of the father, when he was like, "Ooh," and people just started laughing. I was like, this movie's eating shit wildly right in front of us.
But here's the thing: none of them could talk. None of them were taught English.
Yeah, but it was dumb. My whole point is, I get why they acted like that, but it didn't translate. It was terrible. They swung and they missed. They
See, I
swung
think
for the
it
ball
would've-
and just missed. They struck out so bad, I thought.
the movie had a really
I thought it was worse than Bird Box by a lot.
wow.
Yeah.
the movie did have a very intentional sense of humor running throughout, so I think part of that was played for laughs. Hopefully not as a defense for him going like, this is my idea and it's not working, so we'll just make it funny, which is possible.
Sure.
But another thing, because I've encountered similar characters in movies, and that stuff generally pisses me off when people start and I'm guilty of it too sometimes, but when you're looking at something that is supposed to be just like a lizard brain walking around, basically, the noises that they make that cause people to laugh, I feel like it preys upon the immaturity of our society now, where you can't see somebody that's clearly a caveman and they make a weird grunting noise, and then you just piss yourself laughing because you're like, he made a dumb noise like a fucking dumb person. You're like, you're an idiot. He can't speak.
Well, I just think it did a lot of stuff that wasn't scary and didn't do much to advance the story.
That's fair.
And didn't generate any kind of a feeling in the people. So, for instance, like we recently talked about another movie that was not big, not nearly this big, Strangers Pray at Night. Mm-hmm. Okay, it did everything great. You had that feeling. It was suspenseful.
It got shit on by reviews.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But something about it, like I bought it. I was like, I can see why somebody might not like this, but it didn't just fail over and over again. It was actually scary, and it had some cool looking stuff in it, and everything in it was somewhat believable. Again, you talk about the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
That's what makes movies feel like they're watchable. In this case, like literally, I mean, the first part of the movie, I will try to find a couple things about Us to say that are good. One, it took its time getting to the punch. So it took a while to get there. And so it developed slowly and professionally, and that was good. And then the main character, Lupita, she just looks fantastic on camera all the time. She has that perfect look. She has that like troubled look. And anytime you just get the camera on her and let her just do anything, it works out. It translates. And I think just shy of that, everything else about that movie just fell apart. I don't know.
I do find it interesting.
There was a story in there, but it just didn't matter. You see what I mean? Like they're like, oh, but then there were these people, and then there were doppelgangers, and but you're just like, this still doesn't matter. This fucking sucks.
Again, a bunch of really good ideas.
And the humor I found in this, I found like the humor ruined it. Like there were a couple times where it would have been okay to slide a joke, but then like it goes into like fucking. It would be right in the middle of like they were about to kill each other in that house, and then they would start cracking jokes like it's fucking Tyler Perry's Funhouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, dude.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because I like the humor overall, but the one specific part where it bothered me was in the initial home invasion scene where it started to get silly with the dad. And I just think it was the execution of it really as far as an idea, because in that specific moment, I wonder if because this is right before the caveman noises we just talked about and stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder if that stuff would have landed maybe a little bit more if the tension had been wound up more and more. Because when the little boy says there's a family in our driveway, everyone in our theater just started freaking out. And then they show them, and everyone is our theater just went electric instantly. They were on edge, and they did not like what was happening. And then the dad,
the guy in the front seat was like, "Go home, bitch!" And I was like, "God damn it."
Him aside, but everyone was locked in, everyone else. And then the jokes start
building
in that scene, and I think that made them turn.
I think I was on board right up to the point, even when you see the alternate family in the driveway, and like the mom like snaps her hands and they go running off. And
that was creepy.
I was like, oh, here we go. And I was waiting. The roller coaster was going to the top, getting ready to go down. I was like, oh, here we go. And it just started backing up.
That's right.
And
it just dropped you.
Somebody took my popcorn away. They poured my soda out. They took my cotton candy. They kicked me in the nuts and took my stuffed bear.
Did they let you keep Jordan's dick?
They kicked me right out of the fucking park. I was like, oh, I thought I was going to get to go down the roller coaster.
I will say one of my biggest fears growing up as a kid was my own, like, a mirror reflection. Like if you were to like lean down and like go brush your teeth and lean up and it's smiling at you and you're not smiling, like that bugs me out. So the idea of this movie was great, but I
recommend you don't take acid anytime soon, my friend.
No thanks.
Not that I would know, but definitely don't do it. What else is going on?
I think you should go see. I think you should go see Us just for everything about the shooting of that movie, the way all the camera angles, all the shots, the symbolism of it, it's beautiful. It just, there's something about it that didn't click with me at the end.
If you had to give it a grade, what do you grade it?
I'd give it a C-.
I say D-.
See, I say 8 out of 10.
I mean, I wouldn't argue. Again, I think the artistry and the ideas are great.
I won't own it, but if it ever comes up on streaming service, I'll definitely watch it again.
I probably will own it since physical media is dying anyways. I'll get it Blu-ray for $5
Shit,
in
I don't
like
even own
6
it.
months.
I don't even own it chapter 1, so.
That's
Interesting.
fair.
Well, so there's that. And you know what? I will say again, so that to get my hypocrisy all out there, the presence of humor that I hated so much in Us is actually one of the things I like throughout the movie The Dirt.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't like that. They're like, if you're going to do a movie about guys whose lives fall apart because of heroin, don't put jokes in there. I'm like, yeah, but these were guys in bands that did joke like that.
Well, even more specifically in genre, even though Us is not truly a horror film, but Strangers Pray at Night, your favorite part of that movie is initially funny, the pool scene, because of
Yeah.
the
Like, you can't believe they're doing this, and it just
the song that plays and all that. And then
it comes down to preference. It comes.
Yeah.
I like The Dirt because I like the subject matter, and I like those guys. I like what they're talking about, and I like rock and roll. You know, I didn't care for Us because I thought it was going to get a horror movie, and instead, I feel like I got M. Night Shyamalan. I feel like somebody put this weird, non-impressive story out there, and they
well, that was
dressed it up.
something
Like,
else. I'm really curious how much Jordan had to do with marketing it because of how successful he was, whether or not he had a hand in that. Because Shyamalan, early on in his career, obviously came out the gate with Sixth Sense, and then his next movie, I think, was Unbreakable, and that was marketed very similarly to Sixth Sense, and he took issue with that because he was like, "This is not at all the
Not
same
that
thing."
thing.
But
Yeah.
they
It's
were
like
they were
The
using that
Village.
to get butts in seats. Yeah,
The Village After Signs. The Village was marketed as this huge, scary horror movie,
Right.
and really it was just like this really interesting mystery.
right. And Us has elements of that horror. I mean, it's all in the previews. That stuff is there, and it plays that way mostly, but it's a really small part of it. So I just wonder if the studio did that under him. Or,
I think it would have been massively effective if instead of like dressing it like a horror movie, they would have advertised it as like a commercial for toilet cleaning products. Like it would have excelled.
I
at
can't
that.
wait for the next Jordan Peele movie. That's all I'm going to say.
neither can I.
Well-
Also, his Twilight Zone, I'm really curious.
Okay, here. Well, and this doesn't do a whole lot to make me feel any better about him helming the Twilight Zone, but I will say this: he needs something. He needs a reality check. Like Get Out was so big and so unanimously loved by everybody that if this guy in his career starts to feel like he can do no wrong, then he's going to fail real bad.
It's exactly what
So
happened
he
to
needs
Shyamalan.
he needs a turd on his resume so that the next time he'll try. You know what I mean? Like if he, I don't know. I could see this being a positive thing for him to like go, wow.
Now, one question about his Twilight Zone. Do you think, because there's,
It's going to come down.
in the preview,
It's going to
there's-
come down to the writers.
Well, right, but he's probably going to be responsible for a lot of that. But in the preview, there's a quick shot of that weird gremlin thing, the original suit from the William Shatner episode in the ocean. Do you think that we're going to see that's the aftermath of a plane crash, and this time it was a plane of gremlins, and Shatner was on the wing?
Shut the fuck up. Get out of my. I can't handle you right now.
Casey's laughing on the inside, but he's really disappointed in me
Your
too.
your
I
story
can see it on
ended
your face.
exactly like the movie Us ended. No, just a big
I will
turd
say
sprayed
this.
up in the air.
The earth is
Here's an
flat. You
interesting
can
thing. You know when they
make
arrive
sense
to
of
the
it.
beach in Us, and the guy's being loaded into the
Yeah,
ambulance, and then you see the guy already ready to
At
do
the end, yeah.
No, at the very beginning, the kid sees him.
Oh, right,
And
right.
he's standing there with his arms out. Mm-hmm. It's like that. The whole apocalypse thing started like 24 hours before anybody else realized it. It was just because this, religious guy, homeless guy with a Jeremiah 11.
I looked that up by the way.
11:11, and then the next day, that night, the clock was at 11:11 before shit went down.
What's the verse?
Let me pull it up again real quick. It's a small one, and sorry, that was my
God.
that was my thesaurus. Yeah. Therefore, thus saith the Lord: Behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them.
That's metal as fuck.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is one of the symbolic things that's one of the ones that does not fall apart. If you see that at the beginning of the movie and recognize it or look it up for 30 seconds, the rest of the movie is, because she talks about God too, the alternate, the doppelganger person, towards the end of the movie. That movie, on at least a surface level of creep, is, kind of like God was like, yeah, those things are here and now they're going to take over, and I'm not going to help you because you did it to yourself.
Yeah.
So
It
it doesn't all fall apart.
I mean,
but-
again, it's preference to each his own. If you care about those kind of stories, if you think that's an interesting plot line, you're going to like it. I'd save your money and stay home and watch The Dirt. But
It does. I will say again, because Libby and I still haven't gotten around to seeing Get Out. Seeing Us, despite my problems with it, I'm way more excited to see Get Out, and I already really wanted
dude,
to see it.
it's not even the same. Get Out's a million times the movie that Us is.
Well, I believe that, but just
Super, it
it's
totally
got
is.
me super duper on board with his stuff. And like Casey said, I cannot wait, Twilight Zone aside, for whatever he does next. Even if his stuff is just weird, like if he does the Kubrick thing, like you're saying, I think that'd be worth it. I'm on board for every weird, nonsensical bullshit movie he ever
Why
makes.
not?
For
Why
me,
not?
The Shining is one of my favorite horror movies, and it's not even really that like jump scary. It's just the feeling of dread the entire time.
I'm tired of that. I don't just want jump scares. I think jump scares are cheap. I want a movie
Yeah.
that scares me by telling me a scary story. You know what I mean? I want
Yeah.
somebody to suggest something to me that like chills me to the bone. I want to leave disturbed. I want something that keeps me up all night thinking about it. You know, I want my fucking skin to crawl.
That's what I thought we were gonna
I
get
don't
with
just
that.
want some dick coming out of the closet, go blah, and the music gets all loud, and then you go back to this paper
Well, see,
thin
I
story.
think there's two horror movies in that sense. Then I think there's the one you're talking about, which is like your Hereditary or your hopefully the new Pet Cemetery coming out.
And hopefully
Yeah.
the new movie by Midsummer.
Yeah,
the
same director.
of Hereditary. That looks fucking twisted.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it looks.
So I think you have that, and then you have the other one, which is like a Halloween attraction where you go for the jump scares because you get startled and then you like laugh with your friends. And you're like,
Right.
Right.
fucking
Well, you
got
know,
me.
even when I go through, like when we went to Fryworks, I wasn't even in that for the jump scares. I'm in that to just look around.
Yeah.
I want to see the environments. I want to see the costumes. I want to see how they've built up the. I want to go to that weird room that looks like a. It feels like you're going back in time. I want to see the dragon. I want to see all that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I like immersing myself into that world. I think I'm looking for an immersive experience and not like a superficial, like a quick thing. You know.
I'm excited for the Curse of La Llorona
That looks really good.
or La
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 Llorona. I think it's La
I saw
Llorona.
the
Two
preview.
L's is yeah.
I saw
I
the
think.
preview for it. I don't really know much about it.
It's Mexican
Boogeyman.
boogeyman kind of thing.
Takes your kids if they misbehave, kind of thing.
Got it.
That's we're probably both very wrong, but that's my understanding of what it is.
Anything that James Wan
Produces as a
produces,
horror.
like right now,
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. James Wan is our generation's John Carpenter, Wes Craven. Like he's nailing it. If anything he puts his hands in, usually has, and it's usually mainly jump scares. But I mean, how'd you feel about The Conjuring?
It's okay.
Conjuring 2,
Okay.
Insidious.
Terrible.
You didn't like Insidious?
That thing that came out, Darth Maul, was the stupidest looking little thing I've ever seen. Hate it.
Oh boy,
Hate
that
it.
surprises me. You
Fucking
love
hate it.
theatricality and scary stuff.
Hate it.
That's the
that
one
was
with
the.
Ethan Hawke in the snuff.
I thought it
films.
was scary up
Ethan
and
Hawke, what?
the snuff films.
dude. I thought.
Oh,
it,
yeah, yeah.
I thought it
Sinister.
was okay.
Sinister, yeah.
I thought it was okay right up until the end, and that thing just. I was like, "Are you going to be kidding me? You got a Cabbage Patch Kid with red makeup? No way."
I want to ask you guys about a theory I had when the movie started. Us. I know we're probably getting close on time, but
We are.
it was what I initially thought we were going to experience. So I just want to know if it crossed your minds when he gave us that thing, that little blurb at the beginning about the amount of tunnels that are under the continental United States and how many of them people don't understand the purpose of and where they go. I originally thought that was setting us up for this doppelganger family, whatever they actually were, had been under the other family and were somehow traveling with them throughout their entire lives. And no matter where they went, like we were going to get a road movie where every state they went to and stuff, they still just showed up, and you find out at the end it's because of those tunnels and whatever the reason was. But it was going to be the one family, and they were,
Basically, their shadows.
yeah,
That'd be interesting.
for real, yeah.
That would be interesting. That didn't cross my mind. I didn't really have any. When he talked about the tunnels, I was again. It was so much of this movie occurs without any context that it's hard to know what to think about it. I think when he talked about the tunnels, I was like, oh, okay.
And obviously, with how the movie ends, that's what he was saying the tunnels
Yeah.
were for, and that works in that regard. But I initially thought it was going to be like the ghost is
Man,
a real person. They follow
Ultimately,
you.
there was just a lot of shit in this movie that I just don't care for. It's not
Yeah.
that it's bad or wrong. It's just not my speed. Like a lot of the movie was shot like in a house, like a really normal looking modern house. You know, like it wasn't an exciting set. Like I liked when they were like on the beach and they were at the old boardwalk and all. Like I get there's a certain romanticism about like the old, like the Ferris wheel, and
Yeah.
I get all that and like some creepy stuff. If you've ever been on like a boardwalk at night near a beach,
You know, that was the same boardwalk that the Lost Boys were shot on.
was it really?
And the movie the mom references at the beginning when the girl's little gets a Thriller T-shirt. She's like, "Oh, I think they're filming a movie down by the Ferris or the merry-go-round."
it was Lost
Ferris
Boys.
wheels. It was the Lost Boys.
Dude.
Head nod to the
And-
Lost Boys.
yeah.
That's really cool. And that just goes to prove you can shoot a good movie on that boardwalk.
Did you see
They
that
just didn't do
her
it.
her family when she was
Sorry.
a kid in '86 owned Chud? I thought that'd make you happy.
Now that's
No, that's the people underground owning
now
Chud.
hold on. Let's say one fucking thing about us that was rock and roll all the way to the max. Early in the movie, when they're looking at the TV, right to the left of the TV is a video cassette of the fucking horror classic Chud. Joe Ewer, I'm fucking talking to you. Outside the Valerian bathroom, 3 o'clock in the morning, Chud. Here we go.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I gotta say that Chud cassette, VHS cassette, was the highlight of the movie for me.
What is it? Cannibal humanoid underground dweller?
It just big walking turds. Chud.
So Jordan Peele made a movie out of Chud, and you're mad about it.
I mean, he made a Chud. It's got us. He took a Chud on the
I do
screen.
have to say, Casey,
and we
I don't-
paid for it.
I don't know if it was how disappointed you were, or if you felt attacked because of the way everybody like looked at you expectantly. Like, how did you feel about the movie last night? But if it makes you feel any better, I really did fucking love it. I just think it's a shit movie at the same time.
I enjoyed the effort
What is
put
what
into
is this?
it.
That is double talk, sir.
It's not.
That is
I don't.
Kind of is.
I mean, it. Sure, but
You
I
loved it but hated it?
no, I don't. That's what I'm saying. It's a piece of shit, I think, but it's a really good one, and I loved it. That's how I feel about it. I don't
that's-
have to reconcile that.
That's
to myself.
not entirely unlike the way I feel about The Dirt, too. It's kind of a piece of shit, but I loved it. The only difference is I could watch it over and over again. I don't think if somebody
I think
put Us
One and
on,
Done
I would,
was good for me. It
I
was
would probably
good,
get
but-
indigestion.
No, everyone needs to go love Death and Robots.
Damn straight. Let's get.
I've heard nothing but
now,
good stuff about
we,
that.
So good.
Let's make it
I haven't
fast.
watched all of them.
It's so good.
You gonna plug it?
So good. And I just
As someone that loves animation and drawing like you do, you're going to love every single one of them just for the fucking art.
Dude, I salivated when I saw the preview.
There's a solid chance that it's going to be, as far as like futuristic and sci-fi type shorts, it's probably going to be more successful than the new Twilight Zone.
I believe that.
It's
very
great.
adult.
I
like,
watched
a
the
lot of
one last
nudity,
night.
Blood, gore, vulgar. It's
I
great.
did
So
watch
like heavy metal.
Yes,
Sweet.
yes, but different. You can obviously done by like different. Dude, just watch it. And then you don't have to watch it in any order. It's rad. So much fun. I watched the one about the robots that were going through the city.
God, it's so fucking
I had no idea how funny that was going to be. It was so funny.
How many episodes are there?
Like 12.
and they're all
maybe?
like 15 minutes long.
yeah, super
Yeah.
short. You can blaze through them. But dude,
Do you
save
think
them.
we'll get a second season?
Oh, we
Oh,
better.
yeah. And
We
it's-
better.
And it's the guy that did Deadpool is the one that's like, at
Is
the
it
helm
really?
of it.
The director of
okay.
Deadpool?
Yeah,
That makes a
Miller.
lot of
That
sense.
makes sense.
That
Yeah,
makes
yeah, yeah.
sense.
He that was his wheelhouse back in the day.
It's
Did you watch
really,
the one called Witness?
Not yet.
It's so
I'm
weird.
I'm saving them, dude. I'm saving them.
The one called Witness, I think, is the one at the end of it. I looked at my roommate and I was like, I've never done acid before, but I feel like that's what it would be.
He told
like.
me. He told me to watch that one. He said watch Witness. And I was like, oh, nah, I'm going to get it next. But I wanted
It's
to watch the one
so-
about the
Shout out
robots.
Cameron, by the way.
It's so
It was
weird.
great hanging out with you finally.
Dude,
Yeah.
friggin' Death, Love, and Robots is incredible. Is that how it is? Death, Love, and Robots?
Love Death and Robots.
Love, Death, Robots. I would recommend highly to check that out.
I
So,
think you'll love the first episode. It's all about big monsters fighting each other that are controlled by humans, like in their mind.
Yeah.
And there's one episode where like these people move into this apartment, and it's not even animated. I mean, the digital stuff is, but it's a live action thing. And they're like, there's this old freezer, and they open it up, and there's like a civilization occurring in their freezer. These tiny little people, but it's going rapid. So they see like buildings being built and wars happening and stuff dying off, and like it's crazy. And they come back to it and they go, "Oh, hey, look, they're having an industrial revolution." And like then somebody sets off a nuke, and then they're all gone, and then it starts over. But it's happening in like 24 hours. It's so fucking nuts. One of the most imaginative things I've seen in a long time, though, and definitely like good, lighthearted fun. And I cannot plug that one enough. That's a solid one to check out. And when you get done with that, click on over and watch The Dirt.
You remember the weird animated movie Keanu Reeves and Robert Downey Jr. were in?
A Scanner Darkly.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Witness is very much that art style. It's
Ooh,
almost
okay.
like human actors,
It's rotoscoping.
and then they just put this weird anime filter over it with
Interesting.
weird pencil work to it. It's
Very
fucking
interesting.
bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that nowadays, but that's rotoscoping, and at least back in the day, that's how Disney got such good animation back in the day. They'd film people in costume and obviously tweak details as needed to keep
Sure.
it on model, but
See, he
you
would
take a
love
pencil
this.
and just draw right over the live action film.
You would absolutely love this.
Can't wait.
All right.
Hey, guys, give us a try if you're curious. If you're curious, you'll probably find something to enjoy because everything's in it.
Yes, you should definitely give us the Beacon House a try. I'm 30 and I'm out.
Oh my.